quietly and follow along. At any point, click the pause button to catch up or take a break. So here is our valuable crayons. We're going to start off with a single color and white. Put your painting in portrait mode and make strokes left to right of the paper. We're going this direction so it matches the way our crayons are laying. I'm starting off with my base color, which in this example is teal, and I'm just sporadically adding white and blending it in. Why white? It gives our painting a little more movement and the style like our crayons. So as I'm going left to right, I am smoothing out some of those stroke areas, and be sure to get on the edges. If you are doing a canvas, be sure to get the edges of your canvas as well, and feel free to go back in with some white and add a little more variation of color. Let's make our crayon stencil while our paint is drying. I'm using cardstock. It's a little bit heavier paper, and I just have a piece about the length that I would like my crayon. In this video, I am using a Sharpie marker, but you might want to use a pencil. Begin by drawing an arch small for your crayon tip. Then from those ends, take the lines and go outward on each side. Do some more curved lines, smaller, and then longer lines straight down that are parallel. To complete the little booty of your crayon, do a curved edge from one side to the other. Be sure to cut it out. As you are cutting, this is a great time if you need to adjust to make your line straighter or any little last minute changes to your crayon. The reason we are making a stencil is it's so we can have consistency in our crayon size and shape. But feel free during the painting to change it up a bit. Maybe you have a broken crayon. Maybe the tip is gone or broke off, or the crayon is used. Here my painting is dry, and I'm going to place the crayon stencil on the background. I am using a colored pencil so you can see it clearly in the video, but a pencil would be a great idea to trace around the crayon. I like to leave a little space from the bottom just so I have room for my paint and shadows. Here you can see an up-close version. Now this is where you get to make some choices, artists. Generally, I'm keeping my crayons in a vertical line, stacked one on top of the other, but I am leaving some space in between, about an inch. You can choose which way you want your crayon to face. For this example, I'm having my crayons go in opposite directions, and they're kind of slightly tilted to show a little movement. Okay. Feel free to have your crayon come off the page or just half of it on, but I kind of keep doing this pattern of flipping as they stack. Now my last crayon doesn't quite fit on my canvas board. That's okay. I'm going to have the top part of it cut off. Here I'll kind of bring it up to the camera so you can see a little bit better. It's going to get very exciting now as we add paint. I'm using a flat brush and just regular tempera paints. I start by going back and forth in the space, and you will notice as I get towards the edge, I then drag my brush. I don't start right on the edge. This is kind of a trick my mom taught me. Allow yourself a little space to go into that edge before just diving in. Okay. When you do the edge as well, make sure you have a good amount of paint on your brush. Don't work with a dry brush. Use any extra paint you have to fill the center. The tip of your crayon will make kind of a triangle shape. I'm going to refer to this as we paint the tints and different parts of our crayon by adding white. This is a great time too if you have any pencil lines showing. Be sure to paint over them. We don't want anyone to see our pencil lines. Okay. I'm going in with white. If you notice, I didn't clean my brush. I'm keeping a little bit of that red on there. Place your brush. I always like to start the crayon booty, y'all. It's just a little easier. And do 3 strokes. 1, 2, 3. Just to give it a little blend and create a tint of red. Next, I fill in the front of the crayon in the triangle. And then, if need be, you can reload with white and do 3 strokes for the top edge of your crayon. 1, 2, and 3. I like to finish with that edge, that rounded edge of the top of the crayon. My stroke kind of automatically creates shadows and line, picking up old paint that's on the brush. Here I'm going to rotate my canvas board so that way I'm always working top down. Be smart, artists. You don't want to end up with a sleeve full of paint. Now I'm repeating the same steps for the remainder of my crayons. Orange, yellow, green, and blue. Next, we're going to be creating the shadowing for our crayon. This is going to give it more dimension and give it a platform that they are sitting on. For this, I just simply cleaned my brush a little and dipped the paintbrush in a little bit of black paint. I move my paintbrush left to right underneath the bottom edge of the cylinder part of the crayon. If the paint gets a little too dark, feel free to just come back in with a paper towel and do some light blending. You can also water down the paint if you don't want to go in so heavy. I do this by taking a little bit of water, putting it next to my paint on the palette, and then giving a little stir, picking up some of the pigment into the water. When you do this, it creates like a transparency effect with the paint. We call this a wash. It's nice to have black paint that is dark, not too dark, and semi-see-through, so we can add more shadowing to the bottom edge of our crayon and the rounded edge as it works up, making it more 3D. Here I am going with a paper towel. I started with red so that crayons just came out a little heavier, but feel free to adjust. Just a reminder, artists, if you are not taking breaks and allowing your layers to dry in between, you might pick up some of your colored paint off your crayon. Next, and I apologize, I forgot to film this part of the process, but I'm using black and a smaller flat brush to add lines to my crayon. Don't worry about your lines being perfectly straight or perfectly wavy, it gives it a fun movement. I start by the edges of the crayon where there's lighter parts of the crayon and just follow that. And then I do a line that's parallel-ish next to it, leaving a little space. In between, you'll notice I added a black oval and I placed it differently on each crayon to show that the crayons may have been laid different or down differently. Okay. Once you have all those done, add some white highlights to the wax area of your crayon. That's the front and the booty part. This shows a different texture, movement, and interesting facts.